Welcome to A Court of Fairies and Fangirls. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sarah.
And this is a Sarah J. Maas fan podcast where we are obsessed with her books and can't stop thinking about them or talking about them. So we figured, why not record us thinking and talking about it?
We're going to break down chapters, go through each book separately, go into character analysis and any thoughts or kind of theories that we have about books, characters, plots, etc.
And maybe play some fun games along the way.
Exactly.
So welcome and enjoy. Welcome to another mini-sode.
Yes. Spoilers, sort of.
We're going to spoil.
Spoil a little bit.
Because we'll be going into people. But
yep.
So, unless you have read through A Court of Silver Flames, don't listen to this episode.
Yep.
Come back when you're done. It'll be more fun. This week, we are back and sorting houses. Or sorting characters into houses.
Hogwarts houses. Specifically.
Yes. I did not say that well at all. So we're going to sort characters into Hogwarts houses, and it's characters specific to Mist and Fury. So if you go back to season 1, we did this for all the main characters at the beginning of the book. So we're not going to resort them.
No.
We got new people to sort this time.
But we will just touch on the ones that we did. So Farah.
We can recap.
Yep. So Farah was Hufflepuff.
Yep.
Rhysand was Slytherin.
Yep.
Tamlin was
Gryffindor.
And
Lucian was Ravenclaw.
So that's pretty much...
Well, and then Nesta was a Slytherin. Elaine was a Hufflepuff. And Amarantha was a Gryffindor.
Yep.
Which felt weird.
Yeah, that was the big kicker.
So this time, we're going to go through 5 people. It's going to be Ianthe, Cassian, Azriel, Moore, and Amryn.
Yep. So the Inner Circle and Ianthe.
Yes. So, should we start with Ianthe?
Yeah, we'll start with Ianthe.
Okay. What do you think?
For Ianthe, I lean towards Slytherin. She's definitely evil, cunning.
Evil is not an indicator of Slytherin.
I know. And I said that specifically in the last time we did this.
Yes.
When I think of evil people, I don't necessarily want to put them in Slytherin, but just the way she's plotting and scheming everything, I think is
so conniving.
She really is. So I definitely put her in Slytherin.
Honestly, I do too. It feels like that's a really easy one.
I know.
Because she's just driven by a desire for more power.
Very selfish, very egotistical. Selfish. Just the bad parts of Slytherin.
The worst parts of Slytherin is who she is. That was easy.
I know.
This is so easy. We'll see if it continues that way. Cassian. Let's do him next.
Okay.
I have an initial thought of Gryffindor.
Okay. That's kind of who I was thinking too.
He's so brave.
Yep.
And he's a little bit of a himbo, and I picture most Gryffindors as himbos.
Himbo?
Have you not heard this?
No. I thought you said a hippo at first. I was no. What are you talking about?
It's like the male version of a bimbo. Someone who is both hot and kind of dumb. Hot and dumb. But has a respect for women. It's a whole thing.
I have not heard of a himbo.
Yeah,
but that's quite a term.
Himbo, dumb, hot, but respects women.
Gotcha.
That is a himbo.
Okay, yes, that is Cassian.
And so I picture a lot of Gryffindors as himbos. So my brain is like, if he's a himbo, he's probably a Gryffindor. I don't know if that logical.
I wasn't thinking himbo equals Gryffindor.
Yeah.
But I do think of Cassian being this brave warrior, and he's very much Gryffindor.
Yes.
Very
so. Adventurous. Has a good balance of fun, but intense.
He's got the honor, the stubbornness.
Yes.
All those qualities. So yes, he's a Gryffindor. And a himbo as well.
Yes. But he also has this desire, I feel like, to prove himself too. You could tell from his family, his history of being, I think he was a bastard technically, and it was this whole thing. So just someone who's able to work through that and be a fighter and pull himself out of it and maybe be a little bit of a bully, but in order to grow and be strong, I think. And I think
idealist
that's very Gryffindor.
Too.
Yes.
Very idealist.
Very much an idealist.
So another easy one, I think.
Gryffindor.
Okay.
Tougher, Azriel.
Oh,
what do you think?
He was the one that I was of all the people, I think he's going to be one of the most challenging.
Yeah. Because, he's brave, but he's so stoic.
I know. And he's very reserved and shy and quiet. So it's like we don't really know too much about his personality. Yeah. I kind of think of him as Ravenclaw. If I was to put him into a category. Yeah. Just because I feel like he's very thoughtful about everything that he does, and he really considers all the different sides of it. Even just the way he speaks with Moore or acts around Moore. Like, he's really thinking everything through. Yeah.
He's also, like, just in his job, pulling together so much information. Right. Synthesizing it, figuring out what's important, what's not, sharing that. Like, those feel like very Ravenclaw like qualities.
Yeah. And it's like he is obviously very brave. He's the spy master, so he's clearly going into like other people's courts and doing
and
dangerous
he's scary
things.
Too.
Yeah. So, I mean, he could fit in other things, but I just think the way he's using his mind versus everybody else is very much
a Ravenclaw. I think I'm with you. Yeah. That makes sense. Look at us.
I know. We're just flying through these.
Or maybe we just, like, so deeply understand these characters at this point. Maybe we've spent too much time talking about them.
We've read and talked a lot.
Okay. We have Moore and Amryn left. Yeah. Who do you want to do next?
Let's do Moore. Okay. She feels a little bit easier than Amryn.
Yeah. What would Moore be? She's got this interesting thing where she's the Morgan and she sees truth, which I feel like is going to factor into her house choice. I'm just not quite sure what yet.
I feel like she's kind of a combo of a Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, and Gryffindor. Like, I knock out Slytherin for her.
Yeah, I don't think she's a Slytherin.
No.
She's very, like I think about the situation where she was going to get sold off to Eris, and she's like, screw it, I don't want to do that, and she sleeps with Cassian. Right. That feels like a very Gryffindor thing to do.
It does.
Someone who's like, you can't control me. I think goes and does that.
But I think she's also one of the most loyal people.
She really is.
Especially to Farrah and to Rhysand.
And so, like, caring about people. Not that Gryffindors aren't, but she's very, like I think about, I've been re-listening to Wings and Ruin, and she's the one who found Clotho, that head priestess there, and, like, nursed her and took care of her. And so it's like, she has that really, like, soft, like, loyal, nurturing side too. So it's like, she's an interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah. And then Ravenclaw, I think she's very smart in how she interacts with people. Yeah. And how she's, like, thinking through everything. Right. But I think Ravenclaw probably the least of those three. Yeah. So
between, like, Gryffindor and Hufflepuff, I'm trying to think, like, what drives her ultimately.
I lean more towards Hufflepuff with her. Because she's brave, but I also think of how she's been dealing with the same trauma for how many years, and she still is very, scared to interact with her family and just can't deal with things. Not that she should, have to deal with it in a certain amount of time, but I just don't see her as overcoming it. I think it just she's more thinking on it, whereas I think a Gryffindor would move past it a lot quicker.
Or like, maybe...
Or not let it charge everything that she does. Like, not be the reason behind everything.
Right. A Gryffindor would just, like, shove it down and pretend it's not happening.
Right. I think she's a lot more emotional about it.
Right. Like, earlier in this season, we were talking about, like, how Tamlin and Feyre are handling their trauma. Right. And Tamlin, as we cast him as a Gryffindor, is very much like, I'm going to push this down and pretend nothing's happening. Right. Whereas Feyre, who's a Hufflepuff, is like, I have this and I can't let go of this. Right. Because it's, like, hurting every part of me. So I totally see that based off of what you're saying. Okay, let's go with Hufflepuff. Yeah. As a Hufflepuff representative, I will happily take more into my household.
Yeah. I was happy to take Cassian. So.
Everybody's winning today.
I know.
Okay, so last but not least, Amryn.
Yep. She's hard.
She's really hard.
Well, first off, she's not even of this earth, of this planet. Like, at least everybody else was, a human or, a fairy, somebody that was actually of this earth. So this other creature makes it a lot harder to pinpoint. Because
is she technically a god? I don't know.
She's an alien.
Yeah.
Basically. For lack of a better term, she's from another planet, another dimension. She's an alien.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we can rule out Hufflepuff. Do you think?
She is loyal to them, but I think she's more for herself.
Yeah.
At least like the first several books. I think like the very end, you know, she comes back and she like saves everybody and she chooses to be with them. But I don't think that's like a loyalty thing.
Right. I mean, she said at one point in the books, like if she like shed the like skin that was like holding her in, she wouldn't remember any of them. She wouldn't care about any of them. Yeah. Which is obviously not something she can help, but it just feels very un-Hufflepuff-like.
Yeah, so I don't think Hufflepuff.
Even though she is very much like matter of fact, which I think can be a Hufflepuff trait.
And she's chosen to be loyal to this group when she didn't have to be. So, yes.
But that's not the main thing driving her.
No, I don't think so. So not Hufflepuff. I don't think Gryffindor really either.
So she's not like, she's brave, but she's not like, I don't know. She's not driven by like a need for adventure or I don't know, chivalry. Like that's not something that drives her.
No, I don't think she's Gryffindor. So Ravenclaw and Slytherin.
Yes. I think I'm leaning slightly towards Ravenclaw, but let me verbally process this. So like Ravenclaws are very smart. And they're good at like piecing things together. Yeah. Right? We talked about that with like Asriel. Yeah. Like she does that really well with like the Book of Breathings, and she knows so much just because she's like low-key a god type figure and super super old. Yeah. So she knows so much, and I feel like they often will like go to her and be like, what about this thing and what about like that thing? Seeking knowledge and wisdom. Yeah, I feel like they go to her for that. So it makes me kind of like lean a little bit towards Ravenclaw. But let's talk Slytherin out. Okay.
Slytherin. So
okay, a situation in which she felt very Slytherin-like was, you remember when Feyre was going to the prison? Yeah. And she gave her that, I think, like a necklace. Oh, yeah. That said, and like, was like, oh, this will protect you. This is how I got out. Like, you can't. And then it was just a lie. So, in a way, that feels very Slytherin-like.
It does feel Slytherin. But it's also, I feel like that's Ravenclaw, too. She was very smart about how she presented it to her. And just, like, well thought through. Because she knew that she wouldn't be able to go down there without it. So I think I am leaning Ravenclaw. Yeah. Now, based on what you're saying.
Because she's not, like, super manipulative.
No, she's like, not really, like, that cunning.
Well, she's smart, but she's smart. Yeah. Because, like, you also look at, in Silver Flames, her relationship with Nesta. Like, she was hurt by how Nesta was acting. Oh, yeah, she wasn't, like, trying to manipulate Nesta to behave a certain way. Like, I feel like a Slytherin friend would be like, oh, I'm going to try these things, and this should help her. Right. Maybe do this. But no, she just was kind of like, I'm trying to, like, give you wisdom, and you're not listening to me, and that's hurting me, and so I don't want to be around you.
I agree with that.
Okay, so Ravenclaw. Yeah. Okay, so recap. Ianthe's a Slytherin. Yeah. Cassian is Gryffindor. Asriel is Ravenclaw. Moore is Hufflepuff. Yeah. Look at this diversity. And then Amryn, Ravenclaw.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good mix. I feel like we've got good spread. Again, hence why these books are so good. We've got all the characters and all the different houses.
I love it so much.
I know.
Genius. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us for that mini-sode. We hope you enjoyed. Let us know what you think.
If you wanted to cast them in different houses, let us know which and why.
Yeah. Love to hear from you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to A Court of Fairies and Fangirls, a Sarah J. Maas fan podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe, and let us know what you think.
You can find us on Instagram at Fairies and Fangirls. Jump in on the conversation, and we look forward to chatting with you more next week. Bye.
Bye.